What if I were to tell you that there was a program by the United States government that was set up to catch UFOs? That's right. Think of it like, cheese on a mousetrap, right? Same thing. And it was called Project Interloper. And there's a secondary one called Haystack. More on that in a moment. But Luis Elizondo brought this up in a recent interview, and he actually spoke about it months before and in his book. But we'll get to that in just a moment. First, I want you to hear a clip from Luis Elizondo talking on Disclosure Team's podcast about this honey trap program that the United States government almost got going, right? Again, to catch UFOs. So 2 clips for you. Stay with me. This is the first one.
Right, let's get to some questions that were sent in. This first one I found very interesting. It's from someone called Telling the Compelling. It says, please ask if Lou is aware or can elaborate on what Haystack may be.
Wow.
It was spotted on Tom DeLonge's guitar next to Interloper.
Wow. I can't discuss Haystack right now.
Okay. Because you were given permission to talk about Interloper.
Well, Interloper, I have permission to talk about that. The bottom line is that we had created a plan in the Pentagon through the Joint Staff, creating a program, a very sensitive classified program to snare, or if you will, entrap UAPs. Not physical entrapment, right? Or try to set up a scenario that we knew would entice UAP activity, and then have a suite or an array of collection sensor units out ready to turn on at a moment's notice and start collecting telemetry data and performance data and electronics emissions data potentially, and a bunch of other stuff. And that was called Interloper, and it went all the way through the Joint Staff. Yeah.
And was Haystack on that level, so a big operation, potentially?
Bigger. But it was far more. It was very, very significant. Unfortunately, I cannot talk about that right now because there are other equities involved. But I suspect at some point, that will come out publicly.
All right. So a few things about that clip. One, there's 2 programs, right? One called Interloper that he's allowed to talk about, and one called Haystack that he's not allowed to talk about, but did briefly say that's a bigger, beefier project, right? Now, Interloper is set up as to gather information. So lure them with the cheese, but don't set off the trap, right? So we don't want to actually catch the UFOs, just do something that would, bring them out and then collect as much data about them as you can, right? So, all right, that's fair. That's an interesting and a great idea, right? And when you just listen to that clip, you think, you're asking yourself, okay, so what happened? What did we do? What information did we collect? Well, I've got another clip for you. Stay with me. But first, let's get to this other part that was kind of interesting. So this Haystack program that he's not allowed to talk about, maybe one day he will, but it's bigger and beefier. I don't know how you get beefier and bigger with that. But regardless, I think I may know why Haystack even exists. I'll get to that in a second after the clip that I play for you. But first thing, they talk about that Tom DeLonge had this on his guitar. Well, I found a picture of the guitar. Here it is, and you can clearly see that it states Haystack and Interloper on Tom DeLonge's guitar, and I'm hoping that image above it is just a number 2 pencil. Let's hope that's a pencil. Anyway, hey, it's a rock star's guitar. What do you expect? Yeah, it's very interesting that Tom has that on his guitar, right? So clearly Lou has talked about both of those programs, right? But only one he's allowed to talk about publicly, which is Interloper. But again, like I said, I think I know why Haystack was even, started. Because when you find out what happened to this, program Interloper, I think you'll understand why. Here's a clip from months ago of Luis Elizondo talking about this Interloper program.
I believe you say in the book that we have set traps for them. Tell me about that.
Sure. We set up a program. It was called, the operation was Operation Interloper. And in essence, we do know through our observations that UAP seem to be very interested in our nuclear equities, and also seem to be found in and around bodies of water. So no bigger, nuclear footprint than a carrier strike group. You have a nuclear powered aircraft carrier. You have aircraft that are also capable of potentially delivering nuclear capabilities. You have boats and submarines in the area that may be nuclear powered and may also themselves have some sort of nuclear capabilities on board. Right. So the idea was to set you're right, like a honeypot. What we would do is create this irresistibly large nuclear footprint in the ocean, frankly, in some cases bigger than the entire state of New York, with all the nuclear technology that we have. And then what we would do is we would wait for the UAP to show up and then spring the trap. In essence, at a certain point, turn on all the collection capabilities we have in the area from the various sources, and try to collect telemetry and other information to give us a better sight picture on their capabilities. It went all the way through the Joint Staff. It was getting a lot of support, and then at the very last minute, it was killed at the highest levels. We were never told why.
But the actual trapping never happened.
Yeah, we had the plan established, and it was getting coordinated through the Pentagon with the various agencies as well, other agencies, intelligence agencies. But at the last minute, at the very last second, it was turned off.
And obviously, we don't know why, but why is that, Lou? I mean, I get that we don't know, but why?
Well, we have some speculation that we were getting too close to another perhaps UAP program that was being run simultaneously in the government. We can't prove it. We do know that the government has had a long-standing interest in UAP and have been dedicating resources to studying it. Most people only know about ATIP and OSAP and maybe Blue Book, but there's been other efforts as well.
So honestly, that is my guess why Haystack, Operation Haystack, or Program Haystack, or Project Haystack, whatever, however you want to preface it, was started, because Interloper didn't happen, right? They shut that down. So they got it going, get to the end, and then boom. It's almost like a movie getting put in pre-production. They got the script written, actors casted, sets built. They're about ready to start shooting in a few days, and then boom, the lead actor pulls out, or the budget's pulled, or something happens where the project is dead in the water. It sounds like that's exactly what happened to Interloper. Now, the reasons why Luis Elizondo kind of dances around, right? Like, it could be they were coming up close to a program that already existed, a UFO program, so they didn't want that to happen. But I mean, who knows, right? It's politics. There's could be a bazillion reasons why it didn't happen. Now, granted, Luis Elizondo would know more than me, for instance, and most of us watching. I would say all of us watching, right? So, I take what he says, right, as far as why he thinks it didn't happen. And it's interesting, and that makes me think that's why Haystack got started, right? Haystack is started to sort of, okay, let's try this again. Let's try this again under a different name and see what we can do, right? Let's see if we can find this needle in the haystack, if you will. So that's what I think, and I think it's probably happening, or it's either in the works, or it already happened, it's functioning currently, something about that. Sounds like Haystack is more of a, round two, and may have been successful, or is still in the works and will be successful. I don't know. So he did say we would find out more about it publicly with time, but I don't know, very interesting. And I like the idea that we're trying to put something together to lure these UAP and see if we can get some information. Now, I guess, what they do to lure them would be interesting to know, right? Like, are they putting out a live goat, right? Like they do in Jurassic Park to get the T-Rex to come out, right? I think I heard on another interview, and I can't remember correctly, but it had something to do with like, they would bring out some battleships, and like it was a whole thing, right, that they were trying to do to get out and bring UAP out, right? But that would be interesting to know what attracts UAP, right? What exactly do they know that attracts them, or is that part of the test as well? So I don't know. What do y'all think? Project Interloper Haystack, was that a pencil on Tom DeLonge's guitar? Let me know in the comments, y'all. These are the tough questions we need answered. So anyway, let me know what y'all think. We'll see you guys in the next video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.